Good afternoon from AlphaCars. My name is Tom, coming to you from our Northampton location, and today we're going to be taking a look at this 2020 Land Rover Range Rover HSE. This Range Rover is currently showing just over 46,000 original miles, and if you would like to see a high-resolution detailed photo set, please reference the listing at alphacars.com. There, of course, you will also find a free included Carfax report, alongside a long list of technical data related to the vehicle's remaining tire and brake life, as well as individual readings from each panel using our paint depth gauge. But today I'll take you on a quick condition overview around both the interior and the exterior, as well as showing you some of the more notable features. So starting here in the exterior, this is just about as classic of a Range Rover spec as one could find. It's finished in a nice jet black paint scheme, featuring some beautiful silver accents that tie in beautifully with those wheels. I think it looks absolutely perfect for what this vehicle conveys. So as usual, we'll go really close to the body, looking for any dings, dents, or scratching down the side here. As we make our way down past the doors, everything checks out, looks fantastic, and that same trend carries on to the rear. Again, that silver trim shining beautifully with a really bright contrast against that black, and that continues here onto the wheels. They're in stunning condition here in the back. You can see those Continental tires also in great condition. And yet again, we find another wheel here at the front in fantastic shape, with a much larger set of front calipers hidden behind there, painted silver to match. Now looking here at the hood, you can see that reflective quality on the paint is excellent. And moving here to the front, it's a bit more subtle, but we do have more silver accents throughout the grille and with the badging there. Headlight lenses are crystal clear, not showing any signs of oxidation or discoloration. And you have a really cool design for your daytime running lights, which we'll see in a few moments here. I apologize if there's any wind noise. It's a bit of a May winter storm here in New Hampshire. However, moving across the front of the bumper cover, you see it's free of any major rock chipping or damage. It all presents very well. We just have, oh, that's just a bit of residue there on the paint. Yeah, that just came right off. My apologies. Must have picked it up in the wind. So now we're here over on the passenger side of the vehicle. Another front wheel in fantastic condition. And we'll move close to the bodywork yet again. As we pass the front door onto the rear, I haven't noticed any dings or dents. Everything presents beautifully here on this Range Rover. Finally, our last wheel, all very consistent. You will notice some wear on the center caps, but on the actual wheel itself, it all looks great. Here at the back of the vehicle, gorgeous accent spoiler there above the hatch. You see the Range Rover badging and more of that silver trim. Of course, the Land Rover crest, as you'd be used to seeing, and your HSE P525 badge there. So next up, let's make our way to the interior. And when I mentioned it's a nice classic Range Rover spec, that same trend continues to the inside, where you find it finished beautifully in this black leather and wood grain all throughout. Driver's seat in great condition, door card just covered in beautiful materials. I can close the door gently. Oh, well, I'll close it more gently. And you can see the soft close mechanism in action. I'll fire it up with this button here on the dash. Fires up with no hesitation whatsoever. No strange warning lights to call out. It's idling so smooth I cannot hear it nor feel it, as you would expect with a luxury vehicle such as this. Looking across the dashboard, just perfect condition all the way throughout. Gauge cluster is fully digital, very responsive, as you can see. Steering wheel just ahead of me here looks absolutely lovely. You can see the dual kind of character with that wood grain on the top and bottom and the leather on the sides. On this right button cluster here, you do have a heated steering wheel as well as your cruise control. And over here, you have some more functions. But one of my favorite things is this menu button. You can see I have media volume on the left as well as skip and reverse on the right. But if I click the menu, the entire button changes configuration to then allow me to navigate the display without having to add a whole nother button just to navigate this screen. Then if I back out, it goes right back to where we saw it before. Very clever design. Now looking here at the center, this screen has tilted towards me to reduce the potential for sun glare. If I click her into reverse, you will find a nice high definition reversing camera. You also have some very cool screens here on the right. I'll have to do a quick acknowledgement. Yes, I understand. And then with a small loading time, we'll see the off-road information screen, which gives you a lot of very, very cool information. You can see as I turn the wheel there. You also have various other screens, which would be useful while off-roading, as these vehicles are so famous for. Last thing I'll show you really quick is the full navigation display there. And then we move on to the screen just below. Again, one of the other really cool functions where one button functions as multiple, you do have your temperature adjustment here, as you can see. But if you push the ring, you can either turn on your ventilated seats or turn on your heated seats. Oh, pardon me, I clicked it too hard, as you can see. So really cool combined control just there. Another nice feature. Here I have all of my drive mode selections. I can also select using this knob here, which rises out of the dash and allows for full selection here. No matter what situation I'm in, there's always a drive mode with a Range Rover. And otherwise, it's a relatively basic screen. You can adjust your seats as well as your climate, all here in the center screen. But I'll leave it on vehicle for now. Looking a bit further down here, we have our center console control stack. You see the gear selector, which rises out of the dash upon startup. A bit further back, as I mentioned before, some drive mode selectors, as well as your off-road, options like your ride height and your descent control. You also have your parking brake nicely integrated there. If I slide this cover back, you will see two very nice cup holders and a bit of storage. And here in the center console, just between my height adjustable armrests, you do have a really nice feature. Underneath this cover, you have a refrigerator, which is just one of the most Range Rover things I could imagine. So it's a 2-setting refrigerator with those metal walls getting very cold to the point where they'll get frosty. And here you have some media inputs as well. Looking just above my head, you have this gorgeous full sunroof above my head, and I will close that curtain just so you can see that everything functions as it should. All that fabric is in lovely condition and finds its home exactly as intended. No strange marks or tears or stains in that fabric. And then, just for good measure, we'll also show it operating the other direction. All the way to the rear, one-touch operation with that switch just above the rear view mirror. So before we take a quick look at the second row of seats, let's see what powers the Range Rover HSE. I'll meet you there. All right, so here under the hood of the Range Rover, we're taking a look first at condition. You'll see all the way around it looks fantastic. It's very clean. All of the plastic panels look great. You can see the strut towers here. Absolutely rust-free, no kind of pitting or corrosion on any of that hardware. And you can see all the connections for your adaptive suspension there are all in perfect shape. Underside of the hood is even extremely clean on this one as well. Engine cover, it's a very common thing to find that very thin silver paint for the supercharged badge there wearing away. That's not a terribly hard thing to fix, but it does go to show it's not too uncommon. So the engine underneath this cover, though it looks very similar to the V6, is actually the 5-liter supercharged V8 producing 518 horsepower. It's incredibly smooth. I am pretty convinced that Range Rover wasn't really after the power figures. It's more about just utter luxury and smoothness and refinement, which this engine absolutely provides. However, as a byproduct of that, you also have this big luxury SUV that absolutely moves thanks to those 518 horsepower. So, next up, we'll take a quick look at the second row of seating, and being a Range Rover, as you would expect, it's extremely luxurious here in the back, just the same as we saw in the front. Those door cards are pointed with the same materials we saw up front, and being 6'4", sitting behind myself, I have plenty of legroom. I can even slide down in the seat quite a bit. I have a full suite of climate controls for either rear occupant. And as I mentioned, those door cards look absolutely stunning. You can see the Meridian sound system branded just there. Of course, the sound system is incredible. Lovely view above my head of that sunroof panel. And you can see, if you see any flickering there, that's only due to the camera in my hand. Here to the human eye, it looks absolutely perfect. And then one more quick note, if I drop down this center console armrest, I do have some cup holders as well as storage there behind. I also have a full suite of controls here to operate shades like the one above your head. And lastly, we'll open up this cargo area. So it is a split tailgate, so you'll find it opens up here at the top. And if you'd like a bit more access, just push this button and it drops down that lower portion, which is nicely carpeted. It serves as a nice bench if you need it. It also makes loading things a bit easier. But as you can see, very spacious here in the back. We do have the all-weather mats from Range Rover, as well as the one here covering the trunk floor. We have a button here which will raise or lower the rear suspension depending on what you're loading into the back. It can lower it quite a bit to make the height from ground to cargo area much lower, making it easier to lift it in. You also can drop down the seats here as well. Now with one touch, I will lift this up and then do just the same for the top. You'll find it latches nicely into place. So if you have any further questions related to this stunning 2020 Range Rover HSE, please reference the listing at alphacars.com, and there you'll also find all of our contact information. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your day. We hope to hear from you soon. Thank you from AlphaCars.